So in this video, I want to give you two examples of how having the right team in your real estate transaction can save you a ton of money. In fact, in these two stories, it actually saved our clients over $600,000. My name is Sean Price. I am with eXp Realty. I'm at the Price and Price group here at eXp Realty. And first story I want to tell you, actually before I get into the story, I want to give a couple of little details. Number one, in real estate contracts in the state of Virginia, time is of the essence. So what that means is that there are certain numbers of days and a certain time of day that deadlines have to be met. If they're not met, then because time is of the essence, then that deadline passes and there are consequences. So for example, a financing contingency you might have a 21-day financing contingency, and you have until 9 p.m. on that 21st day to either provide a conditional approval letter, which means that your lender has underwritten you and is able to provide funding, or the denial letter from the lender, which means that the lender has underwritten you and they have determined that they cannot provide the funding, so then they have to provide you a denial letter. The key here is that denial letter is not simply them just writing you a letter. You can't just ask for a denial letter. You have to genuinely be denied. Okay, so that's the finance contingency, 21 days, 9 p.m. on that 21st day. So we had a client that was buying a $1.8 million home, and he had put down an $85,000 earnest money deposit. And so that earnest money deposit is what, if the financing contingency, if he gets a denial letter, then he gets that earnest money deposit back. If he does not get that denial letter and gets the conditional approval letter, or if he just doesn't get the denial letter and can't cancel the finance contingency, then if he doesn't settle after that 21st day, he loses that $85,000 deposit. So what ended up happening, his bank was a bank that he had used for years. He had a ton of money in this bank. He was a day trader, and so all of his funding and everything, he had a long history with this bank. So he wanted to use this bank. And when he started putting his application in, Kelly started talking with him about his finances, and at about the 5th day of this process, she came to me and she said, I'm really, really concerned that he is not going to be able to get funding. And because he's got a very unique income source, and he's not a typical W-2 employer, it was kind of a weird situation, and the price point and so on. So this was about day 5. We get further into the transaction, and so we get to about day 10 or 11, and his bank, his lender, again, this is one of the big banks, one of the big major banks, so I'm not going to say the name of it. This is about my 4th time shooting this video because I keep saying the name by accident. But anyway, this big bank let him know that they were not going to be able to approve his loan. But they didn't give him a denial letter. So he said, okay, I need this denial letter. I told him I needed the denial letter, so the bank that we needed the denial letter so that we could present that and get him his earnest money deposit back. Well, as soon as they had told us this, Kelly went to work with her company to see if they could find some non-traditional loan source that they could actually get him funding. So she started scrambling trying to do this. Now, keep in mind, we're already 10 or 11 days into this transaction, so her time frame is short. So they're working as hard as they can to try to find something because he doesn't fit in the model. It was not a quick pre-approval. So she's working over here. Day 10 or 11, this large bank lets him know they cannot fund the loan, so we have to get this denial letter from him to protect his earnest money deposit. Day 19 rolls around, and they still have not given us the denial letter. Even though we know they cannot approve it, they've had this thing for going on 8 or 9 days now, they still have not given him the denial letter. So we keep on calling them, we keep on pushing them, they keep on saying it's in underwriting, we're in the process of getting this done. Long story short, he never got the denial letter from this large bank, which means that he was not able to close on the property with this large bank, which means that he would have lost his full $85,000 earnest money deposit through no fault of his own, but because this lender could not follow their processes and could not provide this denial letter in time. Luckily, because Kelly had started this process and her team has lending sources that are outside of the traditional, straightforward lending packages, she was able to get him a package. We had to extend closing a little bit because we were just really trying to scramble to get this thing done. But she was able to fund the loan for him, and he was able to close on the house, and he did not lose his earnest money deposit. But my point in this is, This large bank had given him a quote for an interest rate that was fantastic, had told him they could do it. When, as soon as they said they couldn't do it, they couldn't even get him the denial letter for him to be able to get his earnest money deposit back. They were a 9 to 5 bank, so we couldn't access them after hours. We couldn't access them on weekends. And had we not had this backup plan with Kelly running through her process, he would have lost $85,000. So the lesson in that is that when you're talking to a lender, it's not just about the interest rate, first of all. It's about all the terms of the policy and everything, and it's also about their availability. Are they available on nights and weekends if something comes up and you need something immediately? Because time is of the essence, which is my next example I'm going to give you. When time is of the essence and a problem comes up and there's an emergency on a Saturday at 7 o'clock p.m. to meet a deadline by Saturday at 9 o'clock p.m., is the lender going to be available? Is this team member going to be available? So that's something to really, really keep in mind when you're looking at this. It's not just about the interest rates. All right, example number 2. It was a new build transaction. The buyers had put $500,000 in to the transaction as their earnest money deposit. The settlement date was on Friday. It was a Friday, okay? Because it was a cash transaction, we didn't have to actually go to the title office to sign the documents. We could do it electronically. But there were some negotiation details that were coming up on Friday. We started this at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and actually we started the day before at 8 o'clock in the morning on Thursday, and we were going through the process trying to get these final details worked out, trying to get them finally worked out. We ended up going through, and the deadline for the transaction was Friday at 9 p.m. We didn't make the Friday at 9 p.m. deadline. Luckily, the seller, because we were trying to go back and forth, luckily the buyers and the sellers both really wanted to settle the transaction. Nobody wanted to try to default. So we got to go a little bit further, but nerves were on edge. It was 11 o'clock Friday night before we finally got to the point of settling the transaction. And the only reason we were able to settle that transaction at 11 o'clock at night on Friday was because the title agent was still with us, and she was still working with us that late into the evening on a Friday. We had questions we had to ask her. We had details we had to work out. There were ways things had to be done, and she had to be involved in that. 11 o'clock, 11:30 on a Friday evening. Had she not been available, had she been like the vast majority of title companies and closed down at 5 o'clock on Friday, then that settlement would not have happened on Friday, and that buyer would have technically been in default Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Come Monday, if the seller had gotten frustrated, or if things got heated or something along those lines, come Monday the seller could have claimed default and kept the $500,000. So having a team that is available, having a team that puts the buyer's needs first and the seller's needs first is really, really important when you're picking your team members in a transaction. It's not just about the fees. It's not just about the interest rates. It's not just about the title company's fees. These are large transactions. There's a lot of money at risk, and you need to make sure that the people that you are having look out for you are there to help you. Kelly and I are very particular with the lenders that we recommend and that we work with. We're very particular with the title companies that we recommend and we work with, because we have seen very, very costly situations arise that we've been able to save by having the right team in place. Okay, so I hope this makes sense. If you have any questions about this, please feel free to let me know, and I would be happy to jump on a call and chat with you. All right, have a great day, and we'll see you on our next video.